How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about SNDL Sundial growers. I know it's been a minute since I've given you guys an update, but many of you have been sending me messages. Hey, have you seen the stock take off? I'm like, of course, I've seen it gain some momentum, but we're going to talk about it today inside of the video. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you are a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to be going over is a technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at support, and we're also going to be taking a look at resistance and what type of move we want to see from SNDL. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and as well as the short interest information. This is key because we know for the short volume ratio, this can have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know, are institutions loading up on shares today? We're going to find out. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts. So let's get to it. So we're going to be doing a technical analysis for SNDL Sundial growers. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at 77 cents, being up 0.75%. On the low, it tested 75 cents, and then on the high, testing 78 cents. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 81.904 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days being at 88.067 million shares. So again, what we saw today, even though we had below average volume, we still saw some strength. Now, when we take a look now at the 1-year daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it is right around 48.05. When we see the moving averages on our chart, we are below the 200-day. We're also below the 100-day, but we are sitting right on the 21-day EMA, and that is something that you guys know that I love to see here. So one of the things that I want to talk about and show you guys very quickly, we could see that SNDL definitely showed that it had some support here right at this 70-cent level. And I know many of you have sent me messages saying, hey, I was able to take some profits when it got to 78 and so forth, because again, it did spend quite a bit of time here, but I would say not too long, especially if you're being patient and you had the opportunity to ride this run up at the current price level of where it's at. So now what we want to see, which is very clear here, that we want to get past this 79-cent level. Of course, this is serving as an area of resistance, and I feel if SNDL can get past 79 cents, then we can look forward to seeing that move going into the 80-cent range. But is that going to be happening for tomorrow? I know that question is going to be coming up. Well, it's going to come down to momentum. If we continue to have buying pressure coming into the stock like we've noticed, and as you see, it's starting to look a lot more bullish, then of course we should be able to get past into that 80-cent range. But do keep in mind of the fact there's going to be a lot of profit taking, and then on top of that, we are getting close near to the end of the week. We have these Fed meetings that are going to be going down. So if I was going to be setting expectations for the price that I want to see, I just want to see us hold up in this mid 70-cent range. Closing at 77 is an achievement. So we just got to see how this week turns out, and then after we'll see what happens going into next week. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership for SNDL. So green rows indicate new positions while red rows indicate closed positions. So we can see here Morgan Stanley has a filing here for August the 23rd. They got just under 10 million shares with 9.4 million. So this is fairly substantial here and something to take notice of. And we also have Hudson Bay Capital Management back on the 16th that loaded up on shares, and as well as Gotham Mutual Fund institutional class. So this is actually really good to see overall in general. So now let's take a look at the short interest. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 10 million, updated 17 hours ago. And as far as for the short borrow free rate, it is at 1.55%. Now, when we take a look at the history of the short volume ratio, we can see for the 23rd close, it was at 50.42, and then for the 24th close being at 43.76. So we see it went down just a little bit, but overall that is great to see. But it also does tell us that SNDL does continue to have short squeeze potential. And if you're planning to trade off of the fluctuations, hey, at least you know the volatility is definitely there and there's definitely some potential here as far as making profits. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for SNDL. So we can see here on the inflow it's at 21.08, and then on the outflow it's at 18.88. So we have 0 on the large for both. On the medium we have 14.84, and then on the small we have 6.24. On the outflow side it's at 12.64, and then on the small it is at 6.24. So overall we ended up having an inflow day. When we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you could see zeros down the board. So institutions are not loading up on shares whatsoever, and this has been going on for quite some time. So that's just one thing that you want to keep in mind. So most of the purchasing that you're seeing happening right now is going on with the retail investors and traders. But also do understand, if institutions are deciding to actually buy shares or even sell shares, then more likely they're probably doing it on a small and as well as on the medium scale as well. But mostly I think most of it is coming from the retail side. But anyways, let's jump into the final thoughts and we'll go over some more details. So for my final thoughts for SNDL Sundial growers, congratulations to many of you that were able to get out of your position. Like I said, I was getting some messages saying, Dre, yes, I started loading up when it was in the low 70s and I ended up selling out of my position when it hit 78 and so forth. And again, this is the way how you do it. You want to trade off of those fluctuations, take advantage of those opportunities, and lock in profit. I know many of you have gotten at a higher cost average. So if you were thinking about averaging down, then of course you did have the opportunities to do so. If you're thinking about getting into a new position, I would say make sure that you have a strategy in place in regards to what you want to do. Just don't look at the stock and push the buy button, all right? That is the wrong way to go about doing things. And like I said, if you pay attention to support and as well as resistance, you can find a range where you can look for a profitable strategy. When we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership, yes, we could see from the filings we had institutions who loaded up on a good amount of shares. And also taking a look at the short volume ratio, SNDL still continues to have short squeeze potential. And due to the fact that it's actually trading in the levels of where it's at, it's going to be bringing in a lot of attention. So that is one thing to keep in mind. And of course, if we have catalysts that are coming through in regards to the cannabis sector, then SNDL will be able to benefit from this. And it's part of the reasons why I keep my eye on it. And I also take advantage of those fluctuations that I talked to you guys about. So I hope you enjoyed this video and we'll be talking real soon.